Hey there, fellow moms. Welcome back to another episode of the Parenting Powerhouse podcast. I wanted to pop on just for a quick mini-sode because I wanted to share an email that I recently sent to my email list because it got a lot of positive feedback. And I send out an email just with maybe tips and strategies to moms once every month or two. And this one got a lot of feedback, so I wanted to share it with you. And this email was talking about something I know so many of us deal with. And that is when our neurodivergent teen or young adult, they just don't want to go to therapy, or they, struggle with social skills and organization, and we know that they need extra help outside of our own home with some of this stuff, and they just refuse. And there are reasons, of course, behind it, but it is like totally frustrating, totally draining, right? Because we know what they need and we're trying so hard to support them, but sometimes they just shut down or push back, and it feels really personal. And it's really hard not to feel a little frustrated or even feel helpless sometimes, right? But here's the thing. I've been here, and I just want to reassure you, there are ways to help these guys move forward without so many daily battles. And I just want to dig into first why they might be resisting the therapy, and then some things that maybe we can do to help make the process a little easier for both of you. So, first think about why could they be resisting therapy? It's really not because they are pissed off at us or they're pissed off at the world. I mean, they're neurodivergent, so they're not making the same connections. And it looks like they're being resistant for all of the reasons that we can assume because, we understand a lot about life and a lot about people and explanations. But they're not there yet. So they're still kind of working from this fight, flight, or freeze mode when anything feels a little personal. And it feels very personal because, of course, when we want them to get help, it's like they're thinking, oh, there's something wrong with me. And when we're growing up and we're becoming autonomous, we don't want anything to be wrong with us, or we can't see it. We want to be like everybody else. And that goes for our neurodivergent teens as well. So here are just a couple of reasons. I just want to share a couple of reasons, and doesn't mean that this is exactly the reason. You have to dig a little bit deeper as well. But to the teenager, it just may feel overwhelming. Many neurodivergent teens are just highly sensitive. They're highly emotionally sensitive, right, to their whole environment. And so we have to be cognizant of this. And even if they've been to different doctor's offices before or whatever, that doesn't mean that they're going to be like desensitized to it. That therapy office might just be a little too bright. There might be too much going on, maybe too many colors, maybe too many things on the walls. It just might be real loud. There might be, other kids in there in the waiting room sometimes, or maybe the last time. So that's what they're basing their experience on. So it just may be a little overwhelming. Okay. What about communication? It's really hard for a lot of our neurodivergent kids to communicate, to either just express what they're thinking or feeling, or maybe they can express it in body language or in so many ways. I mean, we see that a lot, right? But maybe they can't really articulate it in a calm way because it's so hard. And that's what can make any kind of therapy really frustrating for them, because how are they going to do this? It is actually very stressful to think about it when they're having trouble communicating. And you know what? They're teenagers. They don't ever feel understood, right? That's just part of being this age. And honestly, it's not just teens, neurodivergent young adults are, it seems like they're forever teenagers, right? Well, they will grow out of it, but, developmentally, they are delayed. So if they already don't feel understood, then what about a therapist who maybe truly doesn't get neurodiversity? Then your teen may actually feel like a little bit more misinterpreted or even dismissed, and that can make them just shut down even more. So, when we really start to understand what's going on beneath the surface, it will make a huge difference in how we approach this resistance, right? How we see it, how we understand it, maybe even how we communicate with our own kids. So, let's talk about maybe some practical things we can think about and possibly do. And it can also help us keep our sanity, right? So, how can we make our kid feel more comfortable? Maybe to be able to go ahead and try it, try therapy. And this is going to be possibly monumental if we take some steps. And it's going to take extra time and it's going to take extra patience from us. But you know what? That little bit of hard work in the beginning just makes things so much easier down the road, right? That's what we strive for. So, how can we make therapy feel safe? Well, like we said, they may not be able to express or articulate, what they're really feeling. But if we can ask them, what's making them feel uncomfortable? Instead of saying, oh, you've done this before. It's okay. We'll get through it. I'll go with you, whatever. Well, that's not going to make sense to them because they're feeling it. They're feeling uncomfortable. So it might help to kind of prompt them like, hey, is it just seem really like too much in there? Like, what is it that makes you feel like not too good about being there or whatever? And maybe that would help, at least your kid feel like, hey, mom or dad, are really listening to me. They, respect that I am feeling a little weird. And they're not just yelling at me or telling me to do something. So maybe that would be one. Another one would be maybe break the communication down. Because if your teen is struggling with emotions like verbally and articulating that, maybe try some visuals. Try to get a picture of that waiting room and say, okay, how can we go in, or that office, like just try to visualize things and then maybe even write down pros and cons, make a chart of it so that, the words can be seen and it can be separated. Those kinds of things can really help. Another one is just keep things as predictable as possible. So what I like to do is front load, any information that they need to go into something, right? Any information beforehand. It doesn't have to be way beforehand because then they might kind of perseverate over it, right? And that could cause more anxiety. But just having clear, regular schedules, not trying to rush before or after, certain things like that just to make it feel a little bit more comfortable and trying to give them a sense of control. Another thing, maybe try to connect with what they like and their interests and what they're really good at. So if your teen loves gaming, which a lot of them do, right? Or maybe they're really creative in art or they like a specific topic, try to make sure that the therapist kind of knows to maybe ask a question like this, to connect with your kid on these levels. And that will help, like as genuine as possible. So just to talk, right? But with all of this, sure, we can do so much, right? And we do it all the time. We're pouring so much into supporting our teen and our family and making sure everything is just the best it can be. But you know what? You need to take care of yourself. This is crucial. So I just wanted to bring up just a couple of things, and I may be preaching to the choir, of course, but just as a reminder, you really need to put some things in place to also fill your cup, not just everybody around you. Because if your cup is full, or at least you are in a better place, then everybody else around you is going to be in a better place. Believe me. So first you want to just, educate yourself. Find out a little bit more about neurodiversity. Find out a little bit more about this resistance to therapy. There are possibly online communities, other podcasts, stuff like that can really help give you some insight and inspiration. Also, a biggie, find your tribe, okay? You can talk to your best friend, your family members about all of this. Are they really understanding? They're listening, they're trying, but if somebody doesn't really understand, sometimes they're not going to give us the best answer or advice because they're giving advice from an experience that is not similar to your own. That's all. It doesn't mean that they love you any less or love your kid any less, but you know what? They just don't understand. So they get frustrated too. So then you don't hear the best things. So really finding people that get it. And also, biggie, be kind to yourself. Okay? This is huge. Just being a parent every day, every new situation is new. And guess what? Your kid has never been a teenager before. So that's new too. So realize this. Be kind to yourself. Stop beating yourself up because it's okay to feel frustrated and even completely lost. But you're here listening. And if you've made it this far, then you are trying to find something else and you are doing an amazing job. So please don't forget that. You are amazing. Now, I've been here, okay? That's why I am sharing all of this and I'm sharing tips and strategies because I've been through hell with this and it is, I've almost hit rock bottom at times and just felt so lost. And I know how overwhelming this can be and how alone you can feel. And I've created a Parenting Powerhouse, which is a program just for moms who have felt just like you and me, the frustration, the exhaustion, unsure of what to do next. But with all the right tools and supports, things can shift to a more peaceful, easygoing, not doing anything really more or less, just doing what we're doing a little differently, taking a different approach or perspective, and it can change everything. So I want you to listen to a couple of clips from a couple of parents from the program just to hear how they feel about their life from the program.
Okay. What helped me take the leap in joining the Parenting Powerhouse is that I saw in myself that I was beginning to get extremely stressed, and it wasn't always over something that was like in the end that serious. So all the little things were building up over time, and I wasn't sharing this with other people. I would be crying in my car. And that brings me to tears, like right now, just like thinking about the place that I was in at that point. Let me take a breath. And then I did start sharing some of that, like with my sisters who are states away from me, but through phone calls, I started sharing with them some of the things that were going on in my life. And they kept telling me, you need to seek professional help, not just for your child, but for yourself. So they're the ones that really pressured me into like taking action and doing something about it. And that's why I then turned to the Parenting Powerhouse, because I knew Tara from working with my child. And now here she is working with us as parents and sharing her own experiences. And so I knew she was a proven like person who would be able to help me through something like this.
So what I would say to another mom that's struggling and is contemplating whether or not the Parent Powerhouse program is right for her, I would say really take a good hard look at not only your child, but you, and what are you trying to achieve, and aligning that with the course in terms of what the course offers. What are you hoping to get out of it? What is the time frame? And you have to go into this course realizing it's not like taking a college course where you take a test and you get a grade and it's over and done with. It's You're constantly evolving through it, and as you learn different pieces of whatever lesson we're working on, it brings new perspectives, it brings new questions, it just keeps of helping you evolve more and more, versus, okay, I learned this material and I'm done. That's not what this course is.
And if you're ready to chat, you'd love to learn a little bit more, this program is application only, so it's not for everybody. Believe me, it's not. But if you're ready, if you're really in this place and you're ready to make these changes very holistically for your family, schedule a chat with me. There will be a link in the show notes, or you can go to parentingpowerhouse.com, and I have a short form to fill out. You can schedule a Zoom meeting or a phone call with me. So until next time, you are a great mom. Keep doing what you're doing. Stay strong. I'm sending you lots of love and strength. We've got this.